Nicolandria Nation. Tell the truth. How many of you went from planning Nic and Olandria wedding mood boards to quietly archiving your edits and muting Nicolandria on TikTok, and then back to screaming again the minute Nic's Google ad dropped? Because somehow, months after Love Island USA Season 7 ended, after all the drama with Ace, Taylor, Cierra, the whole Love Island Huda mess, and every argument about who really should have won this dating show, it's still one couple holding the entire timeline hostage: Nic and Olandria. Nicolandria, the ship that refuses to sink, no matter how many people try to poke holes in it.
And in the middle of all that chaos, in the middle of people swearing that this time it was really over, we got a Google ad, a meatball shirt, a couple of Instagram stories, and a fandom that went from tears to cheers in record time. Before we dive into how Nic's acting debut and Alandria's soft return basically turned this non-scandal into just another chapter in the Nicolandria saga, do me one tiny favor. Tap subscribe like it's a last-minute recoupling and you're trying not to get dumped from the villa. It's free, it helps the channel, and unlike Casa Amor, I will never bring in new bombshell hosts to replace you. All right, let's talk about how we got from Love Island Villa chaos to Google ad glow up.
If you watched Love Island USA Season 7, you already know that season was not exactly a calm, romantic stroll on the beach. It was messy. You had Ace, you had Taylor, you had Cierra, you had Huda, and you had one of the most divisive casts a dating show on Peacock has seen in a long time. People were arguing about production, casting, favoritism, everything. And somehow, right in the middle of that chaos, Nic and Olandria went from being just another couple in a crowded villa to becoming the storyline. They didn't even win the show, but they walked out as the couple with the strongest brand, the loudest fandom, and the most dedicated editors on TikTok. Articles literally described them as a cultural phenomenon and a beloved part of reality couple history, which is wild when you remember this started as two strangers on a dating show trying not to get dumped from an island. Since the finale, everything about their careers has screamed, this is bigger than just a summer fling. Alandria went straight into Fashion Week, campaigns, red carpets, and awards. Nic became one of those recognizable faces you see not just in Love Island clips, but in brand posts, events, and now in an entire ad with Google's name on it. So with that kind of attention, it was only a matter of time before the internet did what the internet does best: invent a new scandal.
Let's be honest. We have now reached a point where every 3 to 4 weeks, a fresh wave of Nicolandria is over hits the timeline. A blurry clip here, a screenshot there, someone's cousin's friend's roommate saying something on TikTok, and suddenly the fan base is in crisis mode. This latest round was exactly that energy. You know the pattern by now. A couple of posts get taken the wrong way, people start stitching videos, creators jump on live, and before you even know what actually happened, the narrative becomes, Nic did this, Olandria did that, they're done, it's over, pack it up.
Meanwhile, there is no breakup announcement, no confirmed cheating, no official statement, just vibes and speculation. But the emotions are real. You had Nicolandria Nation in the comments crying, saying things like, I can't believe I rooted for them, I'm deleting my edits, I knew this was too good to be true. And you had the haters celebrating like they just won a championship. The wildest part? Every time, it's the same pattern. People treat a clip, a caption, or a rumor like it's CCTV footage in court documents. And every time, there's this moment where it feels like, okay, maybe this really is the end. And that's exactly where we were, until Nic suddenly showed up on your screen, not in the villa, not in a fan edit, but in a full Google ad looking like the lead in a holiday movie. 1 minute, timelines are doom scrolling, Nicolandria is done, threads, and the next minute, Nic is starring in what looks like a Hallmark-coded mini-movie for Google. Fans on Threads and Reddit were literally calling it
the naughty Lister trailer and clowning about how Google had to basically make it clear this wasn't a real movie because the production value and storyline had people confused. You've got Nic in full actor mode, hitting the facial expressions, hitting the timing, giving just enough charm that you can absolutely imagine somebody at a streaming service going, wait, put this dude in a Christmas rom-com immediately. The jokes started rolling in instantly. This is Nic's Hallmark audition tape. Google really said, let's give Love Island USA a cinematic universe. Some of those clothes low-key look like they were donated by Jeremiah, because we all know Nic doesn't own that many shirts. But behind the memes, there was this very clear message. Nic is not just some guy from a messy season of Love Island. This is someone brands trust to carry a whole story in a 30 to 60-second spot. That's a different level of bag. When you see Google and other brands betting on him like that, it reframes the whole conversation about him and Alandria. This isn't just, are they together or not anymore? This is, they've leveled up into a different tier of public figure, where every move is content, every ad is a storyline, and every non-scandal becomes part of the legend. By the way, if you've made it this far and you're still locked in, clearly you're part of Nicolandria Nation. So go ahead and hit subscribe like you're pressing that vote to save button and trying to keep your fave couple in the villa. No recoupling ceremonies here, just more deep dives every week. Now, while Nic was soft launching his acting career, Alandria had her own way of addressing the chaos, without actually saying a word. If there's one thing Alandria has mastered since Love Island, it's the art of the silent flex. While timelines were arguing about whether Nic and Alandria were finished, she was doing what she's been doing since the show ended, getting dressed, getting to work, and showing up where it actually matters. Fashion Week, red carpets, campaign sets, editorial shoots. From NYFW runway walks to MTV VMAs glam to awards like Ebony Power 100 and other honors, she's turned post-reality TV life into a full-time main character era. So when she started posting on her story again, soft glam, behind-the-scenes vibes, it wasn't some 18-slide essay about the scandal. There was no notes app, no let me clear the air, no long caption breaking everything down. It was just, I'm still here. I'm still booked. I'm still that girl. And that in itself is the message.
You don't address things that didn't actually happen. You don't get on live every time a random Twitter account decides to spin a narrative. When you've got magazine covers, campaigns, and shows on your calendar, your best clapback is just continuing to show up in spaces that rumors can't touch. What makes this even more interesting is that Alandria and Nic have already talked in interviews about how intense the fan base is, how passionate people are, and how hard it can be to navigate love, work, and constant commentary at the same time. So her choice to move like, I'm not arguing with y'all, I have fittings to attend, is not just avoidance, it's strategy. Let the work speak louder than the whispers. And while she was doing that, Nic decided to do what Nic does best. Log into Snapchat, be chaotic, and remind everybody that he is unbothered.
Because then came this snap. You know the one, the mama's little meatball type shirt, Celsius hat, music playing, the vibe of they hate us because they ain't us written all over it. It wasn't a press conference. It wasn't a statement. It was Nic basically saying, hey, I'm fine. I'm still me. Y'all good? For Nicolandria Nation, that snap might as well have been a defibrillator. One minute, the fandom was in mourning. The next minute, everyone was stitching that clip, captioning it, "We're so back," and turning it into sound bites for edits. The energy shifted from, is it over? To, oh, he's playing with y'all. He's not pressed. Then, like clockwork, he followed it up with more of that signature Nic behavior. Running late for the airport, posting old pictures of the ridiculous car with horns on the front, snapping random little moments that prove he's still chaotic, still unserious, still the guy we watched in the villa.
The message, again, was simple. If something truly world-ending had happened, this is not how he'd be acting. And that's his way of addressing the non-scandal. No notes app, no sit-down interview, just trolling, posting, and reminding everyone that he's not here to let rumors run his life. But if you look closer, there's another layer to all of this, because after everything that's happened, it's pretty clear that while Nic and Olandria are still going to post, they might not post the way they used to.
Think back to those early post-Villa days. VMAs week, New York trips, fan-spotted sightings, soft launch content, where you could basically chart their entire schedule just by scrolling through socials. You always kind of knew when they were together. A background plant matched, a countertop matched, somebody saw them in a restaurant, and suddenly the entire fandom had a mood board of their weekend. That level of visibility was fun until it wasn't. Because every time they showed up in a club, every time they danced, every time a random stranger happened to be in the background, it became investigation material. Screenshots turned into threads, threads turned into think pieces, and innocent moments became Exhibit A in trials that were happening entirely on social media. So now, it makes sense that people are expecting a shift. Not a disappearance, because let's be real, Nic and Olandria are not Hollywood actors with huge studio salaries. They're public figures whose money is tied to engagement, campaigns, and staying visible. They can't just vanish.
But what they can do is put more boundaries around what parts of their life we get to see. Instead of full, come to the club with us content, maybe we get more still photos, more curated posts, more you'll see us when we're working, not every time we're together on a couch. It's sad for fans who loved that raw, constant access. But it's also healthy. Because when every single moment becomes potential scandal fuel, the only way to protect your peace is to reduce how much ammo people have. And honestly, for a couple that never asked to become the main character of Love Island discourse months after the finale, that's a pretty understandable move.
Here's the thing. For every person who loves Nic and Olandria, there is someone else who is fully committed to hating on them. That's just how it works when you're one of the biggest couples to come out of a franchise like Love Island USA. The bigger the love, the louder the backlash. Season 7 was already controversial. Add a massively popular couple to that mix, and you've basically guaranteed endless arguments. You've got people who still ride for Ace. People who still feel a way about how things went with Cierra. People who saw the Love Island Huda situation and decided the entire cast was messy forever. You have Taylor's supporters. You have fans who think production pushed certain storylines too hard. All of that energy never fully disappeared. It just moved from Peacock episodes to TikTok comments and Twitter threads.
So every time something small happens around Nic and Olandria, an ad, a sighting, a rumor, it becomes a canvas for people to project whatever they already felt. If you like them, everything looks like proof they're thriving. If you can't stand them, everything is proof that they're fake, calculated, or secretly miserable. But here's the twist. The haters never seem to notice. Every non-scandal just gives them more visibility. Think about it. This latest round of drama could have been the moment where interest died. Instead, it became the lead-in to Nic's Google ad showing he can literally carry a mini-movie. More eyes on Alandria's campaigns, runways, and appearances. Another cycle of people discovering or rediscovering their Love Island journey and post-show glow-up. The more people try to tear them down, the more press, views, and conversation they actually create. It's like unintentional promo. Free marketing, unpaid PR. And that's why, even after the tears, the panic, and the "I'm never watching another dating show again" comments, Nicolandria Nation always ends up right back where it started. Heads up, we're still here. We're still winning. We're still loud. If you're still watching right now, you're either a committed fan or a very dedicated hater. Either way, you're invested. So hit subscribe like you're hitting that vote button for your favorite couple, because clearly you're part of the story now. Short, sweet, and no, I won't make you stand around the fire pit first.
In the end, this whole "they're over, it's done, this is the final straw" era taught us something important about Nic and Olandria. 1. The internet is going to internet. People will spin narratives out of shadows on the wall if you give them half a chance. 2. Nic and Olandria are not moving like two people who are panicked about public perception. They're moving like individuals building serious careers, acting opportunities, fashion moments, campaigns, awards that don't rise and fall based on every tweet. And 3. Every time the fandom thinks it's time to grieve, something happens that pulls everyone right back in. A Google ad, a runway walk, a story post, a snap in a silly shirt, a little tease that says, "We're still here. We're still doing what we do." Nobody's saying everything is perfect. Nobody's saying you have to ship them forever. But what's very clear is that Nicolandria is not going quietly. As long as there are brand deals to sign, red carpets to walk, shows to film, and yes, chaotic snaps to post, Nic and Olandria are going to be part of the conversation. So if you're Nicolandria Nation, here's the game plan. Support the wins. Understand the boundaries. Stop expecting them to live stream their entire life just to prove something to strangers. And when the next non-scandal rolls around, and it will, remember that we've been here before. Tears, panic, rumors, and then, out of nowhere, a new era. Today, it's the Google ad. Tomorrow, it might be another campaign, a bigger role, a bigger stage. Until then, stay kind in the comments, protect your fave's peace, and don't let every rumor ruin something you enjoyed. And if you want to be here the next time Nicolandria breaks the internet without even trying, hit that subscribe button like you're securing your spot in the villa for one more week. I'll see you in the next deep dive.